belittling murder. Now, I understand I want to sound like Mr. Obvious here and be like, oh my god, murder is wrong, yada yada yada. But there's been this kind of like trend where people with power scale crimes, right? Don't do that. It's fucking stupid. Crimes are crimes, you know what I'm saying? Or like just horrendous things are horrendous things. We don't need to fucking power scale them. Oh, if this is worse, that we don't need to do any of that. But when people power scale crimes, right? Of course, there's a lot of personal crimes where people would kind of like they'll go through traumatic events and then to the point where they can retell those events, right? So they could be like, "Oh, I went through this, and that," and then through them we can see just how horrific and shit like that, like how horrific and terrible those things were, and that people are like, "Wow, like this world really like is fucked up." That people, like you have to go through something like that, you give your condolences, all that stuff. So when those crimes get shown, of course that can spark PTSD, yada yada yada. So it's a very like, very controversial topic when it comes to how much you should be showing when it comes to those kind of crimes and all that. And at least to the point where people power scale and they'd be like, well, these crimes are the worst because XYZ or these crimes are the worst. And then we've actually reached a point where they will use murder, right, to prop up like another crime. They'd be like, it's because someone would be like, oh, but it'd be like X character did this very personal crime. Fuck them, yada yada. Be like, yeah, but Y character was trying to murder, or they murdered these people. Why don't you have like the same smoke for like the Y character? They'd be like, well, murder's not that bad, And then like that's the point they'll reach, and I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, of course, again, I'm not gonna sound like Mr. Obvious here, but like it seems like these power scalers, these crime power scalers or whatever, again, never should be doing that. But do people forget that out of all the like horrific crimes and horrendous whatever things you can do to like a human being, right? Murder is like the only one that there are no survivors. Like there's no hope for like a second life, second chance. No matter how much resources and stuff you pour into a dead person, they will forever be dead. Like there's no part two. There is no like, oh, I survived murder and it's just terrible. Like there's none of that. Like you are gone. So like the fact that it's the only thing and crime in existence that there's no second chance. Like there is no hope for the future. Like you're gone. It's the only one, by the way. Why do we reach a point where we're trying to look down on it? Because again, a lot of people would kind of use it as yeah, they try to yeah, they kill the person, but killing happens all the time. So like that kind of thing. And again, power scaling, these things is very foolish. But there is no reason to try to belittle what's going on. Because again, like very serious business. Because of course I'm not gonna use it to be like, oh, it's the worst one because of it. No, that's not my aim here. But at the same time, with other crimes with survivors, right? It is possible. Not, of course, some are just so traumatic that you're never going to be the same. We all understand. There's so many like terrible things that can happen, but at least there's hope that if you pour enough resources, give them enough like time to heal, all that type of stuff. In the future, maybe they can live a life that they can be proud of. That kind of thing. That cannot happen with murder. It cannot. So when I see people just kind of downplay it, like yeah, they killed that person, but okay, who cares? What are you saying? Like, I get that you're trying to give more attention towards like different like acts of like violence and stuff like that, but you don't have to put another one down because there's no like survivors or victims to tell you about it. Because again, because they're victims of these like different crimes, they can like personally tell you. No one can tell you how it feels like to die. Nobody. But losing a loved one, losing like a super close person, like through association, that could like be a very traumatic event as well. So like I still don't act like I just don't understand why it gets downplayed so much. Like what in the world is going on with y'all, bruh? It's crazy because people would look at like again, I am not trying to borrow skill here, but they look at crime A, oh, just have so much smoke for it, and then again, someone be like, oh, but when they killed this person, yada yada, you don't care, yada, and I know, and of course, a big thing is justification, right? And I've always thought that there really is no like true justification when it comes to like killing somebody. It's more so like if you're because like humans are weak people, right? So when you're in a situation where you might lose like your life, a loved one's life, stuff like that, you might have to just handle business. You might have to just pull the Glock out and handle business. And because of like there's certain situations where like people understand that all right, you took this course of action. I get it. If I was in your shoes, I probably would have done the same. So we won't punish you for this. And that's where things like self-defense and stuff like that. That's why that becomes justified because in certain contexts, again, if you're in that situation and you did, you killed the person, personally, I would have hold it against you, right? I wouldn't be, oh, you're this evil guy. How dare you defend your daughter or your son from the, no. But there's no scenario where like you can be like, all right, if this happens, kill them 100%. There is no context needed. Just kill them. There's no scenario like that. The only way is if you give like extremely specific one. I'm talking about like a general scenario. Like obviously, the more information you have, the better. Like intentions, motives, yada yada. Of course, when you're in the moment, thinking about stuff like that could lead to like a loved one dying, and that's why self-defense laws and stuff like that is a thing. But people will be like, oh, you can justify murder, but you can't justify these other crimes, and that's only because, and the only reason because these other crimes are just more specific. Murder is just killings, or an unlawful killing, right? That's pretty much what it is. So there's certain crimes that are, for example, there'll be something like aimed for kids, right? And just like you can't ever justify doing something like this to a kid, which is true, right? But can you justify killing a kid? No. So it's like, what are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, it, it's really just like a circle that people just talk to themselves in circles for no reason. Because there's literally no reason for you to like just sound this dumb. You know what I'm saying? Like crimes are crimes. If you want to just talk about how bad a crime is or whatever, go ahead. But again, this whole trend of trying to like put down, and of course I understand because we are very desensitized to killing, just as nature, because of how there's what 7.6 billion people on this planet, bro. Probably about to reach 8 billion, I think. Niggas die every single day. So it's just like it's hard not to get desensitized, especially when you watch all these movies and shows. But you don't really see in your face some of these other personal crimes, right? You don't really see them. So when you see them, you're like, oh fuck, what in the world? So like, I get it, I completely get it. But don't ever forget that if you're too desensitized to things like killing, that's a mental problem. But you can never get desensitized to that. You should always hold that as high as you hold everything else. Because again, I'm seeing too many of this like, oh, it's just murder, bro. Yeah, he killed a few people, but like they were mean. They were. I'm like, what? Like, how would you? What about their families, their friends? Come on, dog. Like, we just gotta do better, bro. Because again, this trend fucking sucks. It's a problem. And again, it all comes down to people think you can justify it, which again, I don't buy. It's more so, if you're in their shoes, you wouldn't call them, you wouldn't hold it against them. That's pretty much what it is. But you can have that same context, right? Like, let's give an example. Someone busts in your house, right? Just kicks the door open. You're like, oh, what the fuck? Pulls out a gun. And he's just like, I'm gonna kill all y'all. And then you quickly go kill him. Everyone in that situation is probably gonna do the same thing, right? Same scenario. Busts in your door, doesn't have a gun. Do you still kill them? What if they have a knife? Alright? Probably the same thing, right? Now, what if they have, I don't know, like, some tissue? Or have, like, a bottle? You still kill them? Like, just switching one thing. Then it's like, wait, what? Do we still kill this person? He did bust in your house, but do we just kill people for, like, getting in your house, yada yada yada? Like, did these situations come out? Because like, again, there's no guarantee. So when people are just like, oh, there's 100% justification in like in just like general scenarios, I don't buy it. I really do not buy it. I feel like, of course, do what you gotta do. I'm not that naive to be like, oh my god, every time you. Nah, I am not that naive at all. But at the same time, come on, dog. We all know context is very necessary. If people have good intentions and they could do good in the world, they deserve to live. When the world, what do people think they are to just take a lie just because they feel threatened or whatever? It's like, again, it depends on the context. Because if I was in your shoes, I'll probably do the same thing. So I can never judge someone like that. But how these people talk, bro? Man, they talk like murder is just yeah, just kill them. What in the world? Y'all gotta do better, man. Y'all just gotta do better. But yeah, long story short, power scaling crimes are fucking stupid. Do not do it. And also, stop trying to belittle the only crime that there's no fucking survivors, bro. Like, you get killed, that's it. Like, what in the world? You cannot come back from that. Only crime, only thing that you can't come back from. As soon as you can't come back to life is murder. So it's like, what in the world? There's no reason for it to not be looked at like seriously. And of course, it is. I'm not saying that people don't look at them. No, I'm just talking about the power scalers that are trying to prop up crime B by saying, oh, crime B is way worse because well, murder is not there, whatever. But crime, it's like, dog, let's not do this. Let's not do this, bro. Very slippery slope. No one needs to go on. No one needs to go on. But yeah, that's about it.